Thank you, Ryan. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. Good evening, everybody. I am actually very fascinated with this book. It's a pretty heavy book to discuss, but I chose a part of the book that's really very important, and I congratulate you on your effort to sit in and be a student and to learn. When I got this book, I saw the name Stephen Covey, and I thought that it's Stephen Covey, the author of the Seven Habits. It's actually Stephen Covey Jr. So next page. Actually, he is the son of Stephen Covey, who actually passed away, but he is also as talented and is a New York Times and #1 Wall Street Journal best-selling author. So they have the same genes as the dad. Former CEO of Covey Leadership Center, co-founder, co-link, so leaders can increase and leverage trust. Anyway, it's a fascinating book. It's actually it's an intense book to read because it's filled with so many examples in history of people who are known to be very trustworthy. So you can learn from their example. And I'm going to cover tonight the 13 behaviors that build trust. That's just a part of the book. Okay. Now, why? Before we start, why is it the speed of trust? What has speed got to do with trust? So let me start with this story. The example of Warren Buffett, CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, and generally considered one of the most trusted leaders in the world. Several years ago, Buffett completed a major acquisition of McLean Distribution, then a $23 billion company, from Walmart. As public companies, both Berkshire Hathaway and Walmart were then and still are subject to all kinds of market and regulatory scrutiny. Typically, a merger of this size would take several months to complete and cost several $million to pay for accountants, auditors, and attorneys to verify and validate all kinds of information. But in this instance, because both parties operated with high trust, the deal was made with 1 2-hour meeting and a handshake. In less than a month, it was completed. In a management letter that accompanied his annual report, Warren Buffett wrote, "We did no due diligence. We knew everything would be exactly as Walmart said it would be, and it was." Imagine, less than 1 month instead of 6 months, and no due diligence instead of millions typically spent. The cost was low. So trust creates speed, and it actually saves money. And that's just an example story that repeats itself over and over and over again. But whether we're talking about you being part of a big company, leading a company, being a CEO, whether you're the mom in the house and you're leading your kids, whether you're leading a small business, whatever it is, trust is critically important. So what are the behaviors which are common to high trust leaders? Let's take a look. Next page. Let's look at character-based behaviors. Now, these are behaviors built on integrity and intention. Next page. The first quality is talk straight. Communicate clearly, so you cannot be misunderstood. When we talk about fake trust, we call it the counterfeit. Counterfeit, like money. Fake money is counterfeit. Counterfeit behavior includes withholding information, flattery, and spin. Be honest and call things as they are. Don't manipulate people, distort facts, or leave false impressions. It's so sad, but in recent months and years, there has been so much fake news in this country, which of course led to the breakdown of trust in what are no offense, of course, meant to any particular leader, but you would all agree that a lot of trust was lost because of the distortion of facts and fake news. And we are just hungry for straight talk. When you talk to people you lead, when you people you work with, do you hide information? Do you twist the facts? Behavior number 2, demonstrate respect. What is this behavior to build trust? This behavior is based on the principles of respect, fairness, kindness, love, and civility. The counterfeit fake respect or concern for others is fake. May agenda. Most insidious of all is to show respect and concern for only those who can do something for you. So you're nice to somebody because you need something. And you know, that's very, very, you think people don't know, but people do know. Okay, people do know. And there is a story actually, which I would like to share about demonstrating respect. I'm not going to be reading from the book a lot, but this is a story that shows. It's a story about Howard Schultz, the founder and chairman of Starbucks. Some years ago, 3 Starbucks employees were murdered during a robbery attempt at one of the Starbucks stores in Washington, D.C. On hearing about it, Howard Schultz, the founder, immediately chartered a plane to D.C. He spent an entire week there working with police, consoling victims' families, and meeting with employees. He attended the funerals, but then he went well beyond what might be expected by announcing that he was going to devote all future profits from the store to organizations working for victims' rights and violence prevention. By demonstrating such deep caring and concern for these 3 employees and their families, Howard Schultz demonstrated care and concern for the thousands of Starbucks employees and their families, and they felt it. There was no doubt in anybody's mind that he cared. They thought, wow, if he would do these for these people and their families, he would do that for me. I'm so proud to be part of this company. That's very inspirational. Going out of his way to show respect and care. Another behavior, next, number 3, is create transparency. No masks, no cover up, no walls. Be real and genuine. Be the real thing. Be what we call authentic. Be genuine. Tell the truth in a way that people can verify. Okay? Be open. Erring on the side of disclosure. You know, it's okay to make a mistake, but not having any hidden agendas. What you do, what you say, and what you think are all aligned. And that's what we call integrity. You're not hiding anything. People who build trust are very transparent. Behavior number 4, right wrongs. To know what is right and not to do it is the worst cowardice. Who said that? Confucius. So it is coward. We are a coward that we know something is right, And not to do it is the worst cowardice. Think about that for a minute. Sometimes when there's nothing wrong when we do wrong things. I mean, it happens to the best of us, right? But once we know we did wrong, then we have to make restitution or apologize. But sometimes apologizing is not enough. We need to go the extra mile. Do not justify wrongs because of ego or because of pride. The fake, the counterfeit tries to cover up for mistakes because they have an ego and they can't accept this having done something wrong. It's the person who can be trusted apologizes quickly. Maybe even if it's not their fault. For the sake of peace and harmony, they apologize quickly and they do go the extra mile. Demonstrate personal humility by accepting wrongs. Well, it's happened a couple of times that I did something wrong, or I forgot to do something, so I put someone on the spot, and of course I apologized because I created an inconvenience for that person. But is it enough to apologize? I felt I needed to do more. What if I sent a little cake to say I'm sorry, or a box of pizza? That for me is something I did, which is going the extra mile to just soften up the apology. Sometimes words are not enough. You need to do more. You need to create actions. Next behavior, show loyalty. Give credit and speak well of people as though they were present. Talking well of people is showing loyalty. The fake person, the counterfeit, gives credit to himself and downplays others who contributed. They make themselves big and they make the other person small when that person is not there. And that's the painful part. It's talking bad of other people when they're not there. Because if you're loyal to someone, whether they're there or they're not there, you're speaking well of them. In fact, it's more effective to speak well of other people when they are not there. To create a trustworthy character, give credit freely, edify, give positive feedback, give positive talk about the person. Be generous about it, and it will show that you're loyal to that person. And don't be fake about it. Don't badmouth people behind their backs. That's the words. Because people are not going to trust you. You can have a meal, and what happens is somebody leaves the meal and everybody starts talking about the person who left. There's a story like that in the book. 5 people having a meal and the 4th person leaves and they start talking about the 4th person, and the 3rd person leaves and they start talking about the person who left. What does that show? Like, people talk behind the back of each other, and there's no loyalty, there's no respect among each other. So what should you do? If you think that gossip is happening and you're there in the midst of it, you can just say, I personally, I don't want this kind of conversation. It makes me feel uneasy. Can we change the topic? You can say that. Now, if you're afraid to say that, or you're embarrassed to say that because people just love juicy gossip, just excuse yourself and walk away. Don't disclose personal information, because some information of other people are sensitive. And if you talk about it with other people, the people you put down, some people you say things about them, but the people you're talking to will think, What are you going to tell? What are you going to say about me when I turn my back? You just totally lost trust. Show loyalty. Another behavior is competence-based behaviors built on capabilities and results. You need to be competent. Okay, so let's look at this. Deliver results. We judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing, while others judge us by what we have already done. Think about that. We think of ourselves that we're capable of this and capable of that. Sure. But others judge us based on what you've done in the past, not what you have said. You can say so many things, but unless it's done, unless you've delivered results, you're not creating the trust that you need, that trust relationship with other people. Delivering results. This is the best way to convert the unbelievers, the cynics. This is the best way to establish trust. Establish a track record, making right things happen. Okay? You're given a budget, you work on the budget. You're given a deadline, you work on the deadline. Being on time, not making excuses for, oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to deliver because of this and of that, and so many excuses. The person who is trustworthy delivers results. They set a goal and they achieve the goal. Of course, in our industry where I belong to, we don't exactly, we set our goals, but sometimes things don't exactly fall into place. But the goal is set, okay? It doesn't change. The strategy might change and the results will follow. So, what are you doing to show people that you can deliver results? Imagine that. Next is get better. What do I mean by get better? What does the author mean by get better? If you want people to trust you, you need to continuously improve yourself by learning, growing, and renewing yourself. Just like what my mentor, Mike Wilson, said, he's based in Atlanta, Georgia. He said, you've got to reinvent yourself. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and make your mistakes your stepping stones, not your stumbling blocks. You learn from your mistakes. So what do I do to get better? For me, it is a lifelong journey to just keep making myself better. It's exciting for me to just continue to reinvent myself. And it should be exciting for you too, because as you grow and develop yourself, you will be able to improve the trust relationship you have with people around you, your family, your friends, your colleagues at work and at business. Reading is the #1 way to continuously learn. I'm part of a business community that promotes one book a month and a reading of about 10 minutes a day. That doesn't sound like a lot, but you know what? You can finish the book in 1 month. Oh my. That is life altering. It can really improve you, because as you read, the person who wrote the book took years and years to write the book. And in 1 month, daily, the information gets transferred to your brain. How powerful is that? Reading. That's how you grow your mind. Fitness is another way I'm reinventing myself and getting better. I belong to a health and wellness industry where we empower people in personal entrepreneurship. And part of that is being an example. So I need to be fit. So just to share with you, my weakness in my body composition is, like most women, is high fat and low muscle. And they say that as you age, the muscle declines at a certain rate per year. So it's scary because you're going to become a skeleton over a period of time because you keep on losing muscle. So I made a decision that I would get better. And I go to the gym and do weights every 3 times a week. But it's religious. I feel so bad if I don't do it. I do it for 30 minutes. And every 2 weeks, I take a body composition test from a machine called the Tanita machine. And every time I have myself tested, my body fat goes down and my muscle mass goes up. Why? Because I made a decision I would get better, that I would not accept that my muscle mass would just get low over time, and that's the way people age, and I just have to accept it. No, reinvent yourself. Now, in the area of technology, many of us are learning there. And again, this is my weakness. I need to get good at technology, at all the stuff that's moving so quickly. I'm a baby boomer, and all these things are kind of alien to me, but I need to get better. I need to learn and force myself, go into the uncomfortable zone. And that's how you get comfortable. Next, behavior number 8. Confront reality. Take the tough issues head on. Don't try to escape it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Facilitate open interaction. Use creative capabilities and synergy of others involving problem solving. So don't try to do it yourself. Face it, but have that healthy interaction. When you ask the opinion of other people, when you're trying to make a decision, that shows that you trust them. You're asking their opinion. You're asking their help. And they feel good about this. When leaders use the opposite behavior of ignoring problems, they try to hide it under the rug. It doesn't exist. People feel that the leaders are being dishonest because they don't face reality. Think about that. When you have a challenge, are you confronting it or are you hiding from it? Are you thinking of ways that your mind can be in solution mode and not problem mode? Problem is negative, solution is positive. So tweak your mindset so that you are thinking positive ways, solution ways, and maybe drop the word problem from your vocabulary. So you'll say, we have a problem. You can just say, we have a situation, or we have a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes the words you say can make the emotion smaller, not so negative. Behavior number 9, clarify expectations. Sometimes people get into miscommunication and confusion because of unclarified expectations. Okay, akala ko kasi ganito. Akala ko kasi ganun. So, you know what that means. Create shared vision and agreement up front. The counterfeit or the opposite behavior would be to be vague about specifics. Always discuss and reveal expectations and never assume they are clear. Renegotiate if necessary, but don't violate expectations once they have been validated. Now, as I mentioned, I am part of a business community that empowers people in personal entrepreneurship. So I work with independent business owners and we work together and we set goals together. But we need to we talk about the results of the goals, the price of the goal, the income that the goal can generate, the lifestyle that the goal can. But we also need to clarify that this doesn't happen overnight. And it also doesn't happen like walk in the park. There are strategies to achieve that goal. There is a timetable to achieve that goal. There is a learning curve. There are mistakes along the way. And it's not like overnight. Okay, it takes time to achieve the goal. So we want to be excited about the results, but we want to make it clear always that the effort to achieve the success, what does it entail? What does the effort entail? We need to be clear about that. Otherwise, we lose the trust of people we are working with. Next is behavior number 10. Practice accountability. If you're working with a team or you're leading a team, take responsibility. If something goes wrong, take responsibility. Practice accountability. Don't point fingers. It's his fault or it's her fault. Performers want to be held accountable. They don't pass on the blame to other people. Don't avoid or shrink the responsibility. I recall that about 27 years ago, when I began my journey in my current business today, the industry I'm involved with, we conduct we call it a business preview, okay, on a weekly basis. And that business preview has an overview of our business model. And in 27 years ago, 25 years ago, it wasn't exactly working the way a professional meeting should be run. And so what I did was I took responsibility for that. I stepped out from the crowd and I said, I will run the meeting. I was not appointed to do it. I took the responsibility and I held myself accountable to create a professional environment for what we call today are the business previews in Manila. And that was a start because I always take accountability and I always initiate things. Not because I'm an excellent, flawless person, but because I just feel that I have to do these things if I am to create a healthy, trusting, mutual respecting environment where people value each other. Next, behavior number 11 is character and competence behaviors. You know what I'm sharing with you, dear friends, because we do have limited time. It's a snippet of the book. Let me tell you a quick story again. I forgot the name and I can't remember the page anymore, but there was a story of this businessman who was selling his company, a portion of it, to another company. So they had an agreement, okay? Let's say his company was worth 100 million and the other company, the one buying a portion of it, was going to buy 20%. So let's say 100 million. I'm sorry, 100 million, 20 million. Okay, not 200 million. 100 million, 20 million. Okay, so they shook hands, and that was simple. But you see, it took time. It took time to take care of the papers and all kinds of other things. So 6 months passed. But during that 6 months, the company that was worth 100 million big like tripled in value. He got a windfall. There was super blessing, super momentum. Let's say it tripled. It became 300 million, which means that now the 20% was not 20 million. 20% would be much bigger than that. If it became 300 million, that would be 60 million. So the buyer came back and said, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't foresee that this would happen. 20% is not 20 million. It's already 60 million now in 6 months. So I'm in trouble. I don't think we can do this deal. And that person, I forgot the name, it's in the book. He said, what are you talking about? We made a deal. I gave you my word 6 months ago, and the value was 20 million. And the buyer of the portion of the company got so shocked that this person was willing to throw away money that he could have earned because his company grew. But because he was a person of integrity and high trust person, he said, we had a handshake for 20 million. You get 20% of my company for 20 million. Amazing story. In fact, that person actually respected the owner of the company so much that he wanted his name in his grave, in his epitaph, that this person showed such great word of trust, because his word was his word. What an amazing story of character and trust building. So let's look at the next. Listen first. What do I mean by that? A person who can be trusted genuinely understands another person's thoughts and feelings before trying to diagnose or advise. They listen. The counterfeit or the fake person, they speak first and then they listen, or try to pretend to listen while waiting for their own chance to speak. That's common. I mean, sometimes I'm guilty of that. You're talking to a person, and yes, you're hearing the person, but you're not listening because you're thinking of how am I going to react to what he's saying. So you're thinking of what you're going to say instead of listening. Yeah. So don't pretend that, well, the fake person will pretend. And when you're genuinely listening, you use your eyes and you use your guts, not just your ears, meaning to build trust. When a person is speaking to you, your attention is right there and you're with that person, and your eyes don't look this way and that way when people pass or when something happens, and you don't look at your time. Oh, that's the worst. Look at your time. Listen first. That develops, it's a talent, it's a skill, but it develops trust. Next, second to the last behavior is keep commitments. This is the big kahuna of building trusts. When you say you'll be there, you'll be there. It is the quickest way to build trust in any relationship. Make keeping commitments the symbol of your brand. You are a person, your brand is I keep commitments. How do you keep commitments? By being on time. By being on time. So if you're going to meet someone for a meeting, you show respect to that person by being there early. Because if you're late, you're actually disrespecting that person by making him wait for you. Yes, I know there are always things that happen like traffic and unexpected, you need to go to the bathroom before stepping out the door. Something happened to your dog just on your way out. And yes, those things happen. But generally, if you're going to be in a meeting, be there 15, 20, 30 minutes before. If you're attending a meeting in our business community, be there at least 30 minutes before or even an hour before to help create an environment. Because when we're early, we show that we are people of commitment and we are people of trust because we value our word that we're going to be there and we're going to be early and we're going to be on time. Your word is your word, and you don't try to distort your word in any way. Commitments happen in many areas. It's not just time. It's again deadlines, it's promising this and promising that. And of course, we're not 100% all the time, but you want to create that record that you're a person that keeps commitments. And finally, the last behavior before we end, extend trust. You are here going back, let's look at the you are your word. When you say you will do it, do it. Don't give your word unless you intend to keep it. A leader whose promise means nothing. A leader whose promise means something, is trusted. That's according to Coach John Wooden. Now, the last behavior is extending trust. What do you mean by extending trust? Be a more trusting leader. This is not now about you. It's about how can you trust others? Because when you trust others, you create reciprocity. Let me tell you, as I end the donut story. There was this man in New York who owned a donut store. And this little business was really thriving with a lot of people, but he had a big problem. The lines to his donut store was so long, and the paying, the cashiering, and the change really took a lot of time, and people's time was wasted in line. So he decided to do something different. He decided to trust his customers. So he put up a little basket with change, and he would tell people, here's your donut, just go to the change box, pay, and get your change. Meaning he didn't get the money. He didn't count the money. He didn't get the change. He just asked people to go to the change box and do it themselves. That means he extended trust to his customers. Very unusual, don't you think? You know what happened? His customers appreciated his business became more brisk because people didn't have to wait in line. They just got the donut and they left. And his business was so brisk, he made a lot more money, and people respected him and kept coming back because they felt that the owner trusted them. Are you extending trust to other people so that they will trust you back? Think about it. And that ends my sharing for tonight. Let's just summarize. Here are the 13 behaviors that build trust. Character-based, talk straight, demonstrate respect, create transparency, right wrongs, show loyalty. Competence-based, deliver results, get better, confront reality, clarify expectations, practice accountability. Character and competence-based behaviors include listen first, keep commitments, and extend trust. Thank you. I enjoyed sharing tonight, and I hope you learned something. Thank you. God bless. And back to Ryan.